All right, so like I said, I want to try to get some of these club stories out of the way and move on to the next part of my life. So here's what's going on. It's the end of my club time. I'm actually quitting the club because I have possibly been offered a role in a movie, which I talked about before. They weren't sure yet, depending on the health of the producer or the director. And I would be shooting in Okinawa for like 5-6 months, making not bad money. It was, I mean, not much different than what I was making at the club, but it was just, for me, it was time to move on. The incident I had with the English teacher and how I was starting to act. But now, I've recentered. I've did my yoga and found my roots again. I'm quitting the club. I'm helping out athletes. I'm more involved in like baseball players. I had one player who we became really close friends, like brothers, and I just helped him with everything. He was a picky eater. He didn't like this, and I was just always by his side. So I had that going for me as well. And I had another bar that was opening up that had offered me a job until if I was going to quit. He was like, I need help because he just opened up a sports bar. So I was going to do that until the movie thing went or didn't go, and just try to figure out what I was going to do my next step. So I'm quitting the club, and I had planned this. I mean, I had told the club and the boss and everything and my managers and stuff like 6 months in advance. I mean, I told them, but they told me not to let anybody know until it was time. So when I told the staff, it was like maybe a month before, maybe 3 weeks before. So the staff was mad at me because they thought I was leaving them at for the end of whatever time. But it wasn't true. I'd been offered the job. It was already set up. It was 6 months or prior. I mean, I'd been told. So I just thought it was time. After everything I've been through, all the fights, you've heard the stories, all this stuff, I was just like, enough. I think I want to say I was like maybe 30, getting ready to be 30 or something. It's just time to change. So I tell my assistant manager, he's going to take over. He's going to take over to be the boss, and I'm trying to groom him. I'm grooming all the other people to take his position. I'm trying to get everybody ready. So I remember it perfectly. It was my birthday, and it was a week, the final week before my last day, which was be the next Thursday. It was a Thursday. So I'm in there, and it's my birthday, and all these customers, all these people, girls I know are bringing me cakes, and so I'm having my own little birthday party to the side, like doing with all my customers and my close friends, and all these girls I know, and they're rubbing cake in my face, champagne for everybody. I mean, I've been doing this for a while now. Now it's my time to enjoy it a little bit. So there's a little issue with these mafia guys. Again, yet again, mafia. But this time it was a mafia guy, and then the guy he was with was half Japanese, half black, African American probably. I mean, I think he was American Japanese. I mean, I think he spoke a little English. So anyway, there was an issue, and I saw it, so I went to go over there. But my manager, he was like, "No, I need to do this. I need to learn to take control of this. I got this. Enjoy your party." All right. Enough said for me. I mean, I'm having fun, so I'm eating a cake and talking to the people, and they're drinking champagne, and everybody's coming over, and and it wasn't so much to celebrate my birthday, because I never celebrate my birthday. It was more of the fact of I'm leaving. I'm done. This is my goodbye party, because the next week is going to be busy, final day and stuff. So my manager walks by me, and I wait, whoa, everything all right? Did that work out? And he turns around, and he's just got like a red Timberland mark across his face. Like, what is on your face? And he's like, "Oh, it's nothing." I was like, "What is that? Is that a shoe? A footprint?" And it's like literally a footprint. And he was like, "Yeah, the mixed kid, the half kid, kicked me." And my manager is pretty tall. I mean, he's almost 6 foot tall. And I was like, "That's impressive. That's a pretty high kick." I was like, "How did that happen?" He was like, "Oh, we threw him out, and they were arguing, and we came to walk back in, and he said something. I turned around. Next thing I know, I had a foot in my face. So I was like, "Well, what happened?" I said, "Well, we kind of, roughed them up a little bit, but they're, you know, they're on the way kind of thing. I was like, okay, I'm not going to get involved. That's your thing. So now this is the biggest fight in my history at the clubs. So the next Thursday, it's my final day. I have athletes coming to say goodbye to me, so like famous athletes here. I've got celebrities coming. I have all the VIP that I knew, all the close friends, people I came up with in Japan. They're all coming to say goodbye. So I'm downstairs because I'm waiting on a car full of athletes to come, because they can't stay long. They just want to come in, have one drink, and then, you know, say goodbye, because after that it would be, you know, I'm not there anymore. Just a respect thing. And this is Japanese athletes and, you know, foreign athletes as well. So I'm downstairs, and that same the same two guys from the week before that kicked my manager in the face start to walk in. I was like, whoa, you guys can't be here. They're like, we want to talk to the guy from last week, you know, blah, blah, blah. We want to talk to him. I was like, look, you're not coming in. You guys are bad. You kicked him in the face. And so they're like, oh, you know, you can't do that. You know, we're whatever mafia family, which is like it was like another fighting gym or whatever. So I was like, I don't care. You're not coming in. So he hands me a phone. And that wasn't my last day, but that was the last, like, Thursday, which is the busiest day. I think Sunday was my last day or something, because I still had a couple more days after that. But this was our busiest day, like the peak day, you know, to do a party. You know, that's when all the people came anyway. So anyway, I said, no, you're not coming in. So he's like, you know, you can't do this. So he's like, talk to my boss. And he gives me a phone, and it's somebody. And I take the phone, I throw it in the trash can. Now we have a cafe downstairs. It's like a little McDonald's looking place. So the trash can's full of mustard and ketchup from hot dogs and stuff. So he pulls the phone out and just all. So he's trying to clean it off, and he's trying to yell at me. And I'm like, look, you're not coming in. And so security sees it, and they come out downstairs they saw it probably on the cameras or whatever, and they come out, and I was like, you know, it's okay, don't worry about it. Just hang here for a second. You know, I don't want any issues, because I got all these people coming. So he's standing there. So the guy's like, gets back, calls the guy back. He was like, you know, he threw the phone in the trash can. Yeah, he did. Yes, I'm serious. I'm not joking. So he gives me the phone again. I'm like, really? You think I'm not going to do it the second time? So chucked it in the trash can. I said, stop, give me the phone. Chucked it in. He gets it out. So 30 seconds later, a car comes screeching. So they were waiting close. And the guy gets out of the car. And when he gets out of the car, he walks up to me, and there's a guy with he was a short, stocky guy, older. And then the guy next to him had like a police nightstick, one of the retractable sticks. And the guy next to him had a baseball bat. Now, usually, fighting with these Japanese guys, I mean, I've fought with them several times. They never actually throw a punch. They just talk a lot and they scream a lot. I've had people like bring one of those big flashlights. I took it from him and popped him in the head, just tell him to get out of here. I've had people, you know, come with 4 or 5 people, and they just never turned into a fight. He just was always vocal. And so he comes up to me, and I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? You guys got a nightstick and a bat. This is just stupid. So he just grabs me. And when he grabs me, right when they were coming up, I say, hey, go grab the other guys. And so my security went upstairs. I got this. So there's 5 of them. You know, like I said, I'm untouchable. That's what I thought. So they come up, and instead of the whole, you know, what do you want? He just grabs me. And right when he grabs me, another guy maces me. And, I mean, in the military, you do the gas chamber stuff and all that stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, mace didn't bother me at all. I mean, it burnt. And, I mean, later it did, but at the time, adrenaline was kicking in, so it didn't really bother me. I mean, it was just like, whoa. So he maces me. I'm like, what? And out of nowhere, I get hit in the head with the nightstick. I see a pop, but it's not hard enough to knock me out. It's just like, ugh. And I feel the blood dripping down my face. And then I feel something in my side. And, you know, the whole time, this guy's holding me. So I feel the impact on my side, and I'm like, oh, and it almost knocks the air out of me. It's just like I look over, and it's a guy with a baseball bat. So I snapped, and I took this guy and just kind of judo, threw him down to the ground, and the guy with the baseball bat and the nightstick took off 2 different directions. So as soon as they took off, now my security already come down the stairs, and they were like, oh, are you all right? And they see a little blood coming out. I said, get those 2 guys. You know, those 2 guys, get them now. And then the other 2 guys they're already fighting. The first 2 that came in, the mixed kid and the little Japanese guy. So I have the main guy who grabbed me right here below me. And I don't want to go into too many details, but I was mad. So I was extremely excessive force. And I took that mace bottle because I dropped it, and I just emptied it in his mouth and his face and stuff. And the story is going to get a little gruesome and graphical, but there is a kind of a point to it as well, because I was impressed with some things that happened. And so I'm dealing with this guy now. He's done. He's not moving. He's not going anywhere. And so I'm looking for the guy with the baseball bat, him and the nightstick guy, because I want those two. And the guy with the baseball bat is running in circles. We're like gone, and he'd come back in and try to take a swing and run back. So, but the guy with the nightstick, one of my other security already had him. So I run up there, and he tries to break loose, and I grab him and I put him in like a headlock. And he's trying to fight, and he's punching me in the stomach. And my security picks up his nightstick, and I'm holding him like this, and I'm looking at the security to my side, and he's trying to get loose. And I'm like, dude, stop him, put him down, hit him, make him stop fighting, because he's pushing his, I mean, he's wrestling his way, trying to wrestle, and I'm trying to keep my foothold, and I've still got blood dripping down my face, you know, it's all. And so my security, he goes, and it made me so mad of how light he tapped this guy on the head after I'm bleeding from and you know, the baseball bat to the side, the mace to the face, and then the hit in the head. And if you've ever seen a movie called Kung Fu Hustle, when they're fighting and he puts his face into the ground and then he picks up a little stick to hit him and taps, that's exactly what it looked like. I was so mad, and I just looked at my security. I said, if you don't knock this guy out right now, you're next. So he was like, and hit him over the head and kind of dazed him a little bit, and I threw him down to the ground. And I was like, take care of this. And two more other securities. But now it's more than just securities. It's like foreigners versus Japanese, because now Navy guys are jumping in, and any Japanese person, because we don't know who's who now. We don't. There's just people coming out of nowhere. I mean, you're yelling at somebody and you just get hit, and the guy takes off running. So we didn't know. So now the Navy guys are trying to help us out. You know, they just see a bunch of Americans and foreigners fighting with all these Japanese guys. So I still want the guy with the baseball bat, and he's still running around. But the original first guy, the leader, he's trying to get up. So I run up there, and you know, I run back to him. I'm like, you know, what are you doing? You know, he's trying to get up, and I push him back down to the ground and stuff. And I want to say I was nice, but I wasn't. I mean, I was laying into him every time he tried to get up. So I'm looking around, and I'm seeing what's going on, and my security has two guys over here, these guys over here, these Navy guys are fighting these guys, and it's just, and more cars are pulling up. Now it's like 3 or 4 more cars, and more guys are getting out of the car. And I swear to God, this went from a probably 10-on-10 fight to 80-on-80, because there were so many, and the people that didn't involve, but it was the Japanese guys a chance to get a swing in on a foreigner, so they were jumping in. I got this mafia boss laying on the ground, and I'm yelling like, "This is what you guys are afraid of. These are who you're afraid of. These guys, you know, stop getting involved. Back away, or you know, we don't know who's on our side or not." This one Japanese guy went up to check this guy because he's spitting blood or whatever, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I grab him. He's like, "No, I'm no, Bachi, I'm not, you know, I'm not getting involved." And he knew my name, and he's like, "I just wanted to see if he was okay. You know, I'm a nurse or something." And I was like, "Stay out of it. Get away." So the guy with the baseball bat, he's running around. They almost got him, and I'm just like, gosh, I really wanted that guy with the bat because my ribs are cracked. I mean, later I had pictures where you could see the ribs through my skin and stuff, and still got blood dripping down my face. My eyes have been maced. I'm burning, and this boss, he's trying to get up, but he can't. I mean, he's spitting up blood. He's got the mace and all the. I emptied the can on him, and I told him I'd been down, and I told him, I was like, look, if you say sorry, this is over. You're good. You know, we'll end this right now. All you gotta do is just say sorry. And he looks at me. He's spitting up, and it looked like a movie. And he just looked at me, and he was like, he literally just went like this. I can't say sorry to you. You're not Japanese. And I actually respected him for that, because of his mafia type, you know, the mafia code. He can't apologize to me because I'm not Japanese and I'm not above him. I'm not his boss. And he, no matter the beating he took or anything like that, he wasn't going to say sorry. So I respected that. You earned my respect. So now the cops come, and we've got the whole club almost come outside to do this, to fight and stuff. We've we've got maybe 400 or 500 people outside of my club just going crazy. Cops come, fire trucks come, riot people come, and when they come up to me, I don't know if I should say this on tape and get myself in trouble. When they came up to me, when they were putting the guy onto the stretcher thing, the trolley thing, the doctor's thing to put him into the ambulance, the guy, the main boss, and they were getting the other Japanese guys, they were all pointing at me, saying I did this. So when they came up to me, I was just like, oh, I can't see, I've been maced. And they're like, what? I was like, I don't, who are you? What are you doing? So they had I had to jump in an ambulance real quick, and they checked my eyes, and yes, I had been maced. And I had to tell my security, or my manager, to go delete the hard drive, the cameras out front, because I didn't want anybody to get in trouble. But I was like, I can't see. And they're like, yeah, he's been maced. So, and plus I got a crack and I got my ribs. So I'm talking to the cops, and I'm pretending like, I can't see nothing. I'm trying to focus on them. And they're like, what happened? I was like, he ran up and maced me. This guy hit me with a nightstick. Some guy over there hit me with a nightstick. Next thing I pulled out my shirt, and you could see my rib cage, like a lot of my ribs, and like bruised through my skin. And they were like, oh, and the guy with the bat standing right there. He's right there with the bat in his hand. And I was like, he hit me with the bat. And they look at him, and they was like, okay, we'll talk to him in a second. I was like, what? He hit me with a bat. He's standing right there. I mean, literally next to you. Grab him before he runs. And they're like, we'll talk to him in a second. They look at him, and he just takes off running. And they're like, we'll find him later. I'm like, this is Japanese police. Really? Really, in the States, you don't walk up to a fight holding a bat, and the guy's got a rib cage with a bat print on it. I mean, come on. My ribs said Louisville Slugger across them. So, the cops are talking to me, and I'm pretending I can't see anything. And, even the Japanese people are like, yeah, they hit him. I mean, I had the imprints of the nightstick right here. I'm bleeding. They can see I've been cut. So I've been maced, hit in the head, and I have a bat mark on my side. So they know I was a victim as well. So to make it official, I had to go to the hospital. And this is another kind of messed up part of this story. And, I mean, the cops shoot everybody away. The Japanese guys jumped in the car. A lot of them ran. Some people, of course, threatened us, like, we're going to kill you guys. You foreigners are dead, blah, blah, blah. My security, someone were freaking out. I said, look, if you go home, but you're fired. This is over. I got to go to the hospital. So I get in an ambulance, and they called like 7 hospitals in our area for an eye doctor. Now, every hospital had an eye doctor on staff. This is like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. But because I wasn't Japanese, I was a foreigner, they didn't want to take me because of insurance issues or speaking language issues or whatever the issues. But I could hear him on the phone. He'd be like, hey, we have a patient. He's been maced. We need to get his eyes checked to make sure there's, no damage. Yes, yeah, he's a foreigner, a gaijin. Oh, okay, we understand. And they canceled. We sat on the highway for, I looked at the clock. I think it was like 38 minutes or 40 some minutes. We sat on the highway, stopped with the wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, just because they couldn't find a hospital that would take me because I wasn't Japanese. They finally found one hospital that was like 45-minute drive away. So I had to go all the way down there. Now it's like almost 5 in the morning. The club is closing. I get my eyes checked. The guy comes up, he sticks the thing in my eyes, he checks, he does a little thing, pulls my eyes down, he gives me some eye drops. He's like, are you okay? Do you feel? I say, I'm fine, it just burns. I can barely, it was fuzzy. And they're like, okay, that'll be a problem, a symptom for a couple. My eyes are all red around here. And sends me on my way. Problem is, cops went back to the club. So I had to find my own transportation back to the club, take a taxi back to the club. The cops are there now taking, things. Cops came up to me and they're like, we went to see the hard drive, but there was no footage or whatever. I was like, yeah, we unplugged it. We forgot to plug it back in. I just made up thing, and it's stupid because they had me and my assistant manager in separate rooms at the club talking to us, asking us information. So, but they didn't take our phones away. So I'm mailing my manager saying, I just told him that we unplugged the machine. And so he's like, okay. So then the guy would go across the thing and ask him, and he'd mail me like, yeah, he just asked me. I told him the same thing. I said, also, I told him that that you were, and we're communicating back and forth the entire interrogation, and they're just going from us this, and we're just mailing each other. It's just what police work. Wow. So we get done with that, and then they asked me if I want to press charges because, obviously I'd been attacked with weapons, which in Japan is also a big no-no, even though. So I was like, no, I need to talk to the owner of the club because really, I didn't care. I mean, it was done. But when I got back to the club, which is like almost closing time, all my VIP and all my friends were there. They were there, they were like leaving. They were like, "We heard you got to fight," and I am drenched in just blood. Like I got blood all here, but it's not all my blood. And I mean, they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just got a little cut on my head." And they're like, "It looks like you're from the movie Carrie or something because we did some damage that night to a lot of people." And it was just once I got hit with the nightstick and the mace and the bat, I just snapped. It was just uncontrollable. So we did that, and then the next day, I think it was, we got a phone call. Of course, threats coming in and stuff like that. And I only had like 2 more days there, and then my staff didn't show, but he showed up like 5 or 6 hours later, and he said that the mafia guys followed him home, threw him in the car, took him out to the beach. They beat him up. He came in with some bruises and stuff. And how they want to know where I lived and anything like that. I think he just got drunk and crashed on his moped or something, but you never know. I mean, I was like, dude, tell them where I live. I mean, my building complex is one of the big bosses, so if they come to my place to fight, they're gonna have to answer to him anyway. So I'm getting phone calls from people I know, people I haven't talked to, and they're like, "Hey, are you okay? Because I just got a phone call saying, asking if I knew you or where you lived or anything like that, and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, we had a big problem." So this is getting worse. Like a lot of people call me. These people are trying to find out where I live. My staff is scared, and I'm quitting in like one day. I'm done. So I like enough of this. So I found out where their group is held up at, and I called the office. I was like, hey, it's me. You remember me from the club? I want to talk to your boss. And there's a lot of arguing and stuff. Finally, the boss gets on the phone. I'm like, look, this is what's going to happen. We're going to come to your office right now. We're going to finish this because you threatening my staff, you calling the club, threatening me, and you're trying to find out where I live. I said, it's not going to happen. I said, I'll tell you right now, I live in a building with one of your bosses. So if that's what you want to do, we'll do that. And I'd already called my friend who was friends with all these, the big bosses. And he said, yeah, there was some issues about me going around it, because it turned out that the guy that I was talking to very strongly in the boss that was in the ambulance, he was actually a made man. He was actually a low-level made man, and I cracked his sternum and broke like every bone in his face, and it was an issue. But the thing is, they were a small organization, part of a big family, but they were a small part, and they were being investigated for several different issues, several different things. So the fact that they attacked me with weapons, and it was the boss was there, and he was physically involved in it, and I saw him, it could shut down that department, I guess to say. So if I was to press charges, it would have shut the entire that group down, which would have solved one problem, but would created another because that would have involved the upper families to get involved in the situation as well, because now I'm stopping some money flow or whatever it was. And I didn't want that because certain mafia you can deal with, certain you don't mess with. The upper people, leave alone, you know. And so they were like, I was like, we don't want to fight, but we can squash this now if you don't press charges. If you just tell the cops it was a misunderstanding and let it go. It's almost 30 minutes. So I want to close this up. So I said, look, I'm not pressing charges. I don't need to. I proved my point. We did what we had to do. You guys got to live with knowing that, what happened. So squashed it, and that was the end of my club days at that club. After that, I quit. I went to work for the sports bar, and that'll be a different story. And taking care of baseball players. Sorry, that was an extremely long one, but there was a lot there. That's why I saved it for last. Well, it was the last anyway, but yeah, that was the old back in the day. Now it's all make love, not war. All right, thanks for listening.